Hi, my name's Karlee Murphy and I'm a Global Product Specialist for Workplace Analytics at Microsoft. So my career has kind of gone and weaved about a lot during its time. I actually have a degree in languages and have studied Japanese and German, but I didn't actually use them as part of my sort of mainstay of my career. I started off in recruiting an HR role for a top tier law firm in the region, and that was really exciting to be able to kind of ground my skill set in the HR space. After a redundancy, I actually was approached by a consulting company working in HR tech to come and join them, and that was great because it gave me the flexibility to do what I needed to do, how I needed to do it at that time of my career, and I got to work with a lot of customers and use sort of my process improvement kind of interest to really bring the information to the customers and to work with them on projects. I was then approached by Oracle to come and join them in their consulting practice, and I was a senior director there for about 4 years, working with their recruiting technology and their HR technology as well. And I eventually joined Microsoft 4 years ago when they approached me again, another headhunting, and I joined to be a global product specialist for their Dynamics HR solution. And about 18 months ago, I decided to make a change into this particular role, working with a product which is really around bringing analytics and insights to organisations, so broadening out my scope from just sort of HR into the broader business, and that's really exciting to be working in the role I am now. Yeah, definitely a series of sprints. I kind of thought I would stay in one place for my whole career, or not necessarily one organisation, but in one role. And I'm actually quite surprised at how my career has progressed and how I've used aspects of my previous role and what I've learnt to apply that into a slightly different kind of approach into my next career. So yeah, as I said in my start of my video, I started out not knowing what I wanted to do, ended up in HR and recruiting, which was really interesting. I actually was made redundant in my role with the law firm. And I had a connection through one of the vendors that we'd implemented, and they went. That person went to start their own consulting company and had started that, and said, "Look, when you're ready to come back in," because I was actually pregnant at the time with my first child. "When you're ready to come back in, let me know, because we're always looking for people like you." And so then that started my consulting career within HR tech. So I spent around 7 years there, which was actually probably a little bit longer than a sprint, maybe a 400, 800 metre. But that was super exciting, and through that I developed and grew. It was a small business, so I had lots of scope to be able to kind of extend myself in various different ways, not necessarily pigeonholed in a particular area. Anyway, after that 7 years, I was kind of outgrowing the organisation, and I happened to be approached by Oracle, and they wanted to join as their specialist for APAC in their recruiting technology, and then later in the HR space. So I pivoted again to kind of look from a smaller company into a bigger organisation, and I went from, say, about 15 people, I think, to about over 100,000 people in the organisation. So that was really quite a big change for me, but it was really exciting to be able to kind of, again, take what I learned from the previous role and scale up, right, and be exposed to a lot more different things. So yeah, from there, I think it was a matter of looking at what I wanted to do and being involved in new technology. And when Microsoft approached me, it was really interesting because it was new tech for them. we really need to kind of understand the Australian market and the influence on the product, and how we, how we can work with customers, how to position it out there in the market. And so it was a really quite interesting role to be able to kind of work with partners, with customers, and internally as well in developing the sales team here locally. So yeah, it's been sort of a number of different roles, but what I'd say is, like, wherever you start is don't let it stop you from getting where you want to be. So one piece of career advice I've been given, so probably one of the best ones I've had is to create and develop your network. I think my networks have been a big part of my career. I think, well, I mean, it definitely has, right? The last time I actually applied, went on to Seek or another job board to apply for a job was back in 2001. The career I've had has been through my networks, developing my profile, and people coming to me and saying, hey, this would be a good role for you. So I think that's one piece of advice that I would say. Look at your networks and build your networks wherever you are. And networks doesn't mean cold calling and approaching, random people on LinkedIn and trying to create a false network, but really be genuine with people, and to create that connection, and make sure you sell yourself at every opportunity. And again, that doesn't mean being pushy and forward about everything, but in a genuine, honest way is share your skill set and what you can do. And one day it's just somebody who says, oh, hey, you know what? I know somebody for that role. I'll connect you with so-and-so. So I think that's probably the best piece of career advice I've ever received. So if I could go back and tell my younger self, one thing that I know now that would probably put me at a better peace of mind, I think what that would be is, you don't have to pigeon yourself in one role, and it's going to be easier to get out of that box than you think it is. I think for me, when I started, I kind of thought, this is recruiting, I'm going to be a recruitment coordinator, and then I'm going to be a recruitment manager, and that's kind of, I'm going to move into different organizations, and that's kind of, I'm going to sort of stay in that recruitment box. But what I've learned from my career is taking that skill set and adapting it and slightly tweaking it and taking some other skill sets and really combining it together to kind of move laterally. And for me, it's not been about climbing the kind of corporate ladder, but really about trying to find roles that will inspire me, that will use my skill set, how I want to use them in a particular role. So yeah, I'd go back and tell myself, you know what, you don't have to be in that sort of same role forever. Explore different opportunities to expand through different ways, and not necessarily through a hierarchy. Probably one of the biggest mistakes I've made was to stay in an organisation and a role for longer than I probably should have. For me, I think looking back, 2020 hindsight's great, right? So I think I stayed in that role because I was in a comfortable rut. It was what I knew, better the devil you know, right? So I pretty much stayed in that role. I mean, I was lucky that that I had opportunities come to me, and so therefore I'd probably say, I'm thankful for the mistakes I've made, because that's created the person that I am today, and probably influenced where I am today in a particular role at a company that I absolutely love and am passionate about. So I think, yeah, I probably would have, I probably should have given myself a little bit of a push, and actually been a bit more motivated to get out of a role where I just kind of felt like I wasn't achieving the things I wanted to achieve, even as much effort as I was putting into kind of create internal kind of opportunities for me to do exciting stuff. I think it was time to leave before I did leave. So that's probably the biggest mistake I've ever made. I think the key to my success is networking. I think that's been super important about where I am today and how I've gotten here. I've used my networks for pretty much every single role that I've had in my career, besides sort of that first one when I applied for a role back in 2001 at the law firm. Every single role from there has been because of a genuine network of people that I've created. And as I said in a previous in one of my previous statements, I think showcasing your ability out there in a really genuine way that connects to people, I think that's been really really good for me in terms of my career. I think I've even used it internally here at Microsoft when I identified the role that I'm in now was where I really wanted to be, and I use my networks internally to be able to be my cheer squad, to approach the team, to get them to create the role for me. So I think I can't tell you enough how important my network has really been to me to get me to where I am today, and I have no doubt it will be what will help me excel in my career from today.